Good evening, everyone. Continuing to the fifth day of our internship training week, brought to you by Communiqué IIT Kharagpur. I am Yashwardhan Jain, and I am thrilled to host today's panel discussion with Aditi Garg. Today, we will dive into the fascinating world of data, and we hope this discussion covers all your questions and gives you all the info you need. After the discussion, we will hold Q&A session to address any remaining queries.
In today's session, we have with us a highly competent panel of experts from IIT Kharagpur who have bagged amazing internships in some of the highly reputed companies. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce them to you. Our first panelist of the day is Mr. Neeraj Venkata, who is currently interning at Microsoft. Neeraj, would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so hello folks, this is Neeraj and I will go to fifth year in computer science. Yeah. I have completed my fourth year. Now currently I'm interning at Microsoft Hyderabad campus as a data scientist intern. And I'm currently working on the Microsoft Edge browser, which you all people are looking to use. Yeah,
Thank you, Neeraj. Next, we have Mr. Shishir Hardia, who got an internship at Microsoft. Shishir, would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello everyone, my name is Shishir. I'm from mathematics department and I just completed my third year and I'm interning with Microsoft as you know, and I'm currently working with the Bing Copilot team. So yeah.
Thank you, Shishir. Our final panelist for the discussion is Ms. Akshara Shukla, who got intern in HDFC Bank. Akshara, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Akshara Shukla and I am from Exploration Geophysics, Geology and Geophysics, and I got intern at HDFC in data scientist role, and I'm currently working on credit risk analysis and trying to predict the days to autocure for credit card repayment. And for many of you who might not be from Circuital department in this meet, it would be a plus point since in HDFC, since HDFC doesn't have any department criteria and they totally focus on like your skills and what do you know and how relevant you are to them. So yes.
Thank you, Akshara.
So, before diving into the exciting discussions and presentations, I would like to congratulate our panelists for landing in prestigious internships. Your achievements are truly inspiring. So, starting the panel discussion, the first question is: can you share what motivated you to pursue a career in data, specifically focusing on experiences that influenced your decision? Akshara, would you like to begin?
Yes, sure. So before jumping into data profile, I've tried a few things in campus, one of which was web development. And when I tried for web development, I was the web secretary also. And after that field, I actually got to know that I'm not that much into SD. So I also studied about consulting and explored a few other fields, one of which was data science. And I also participated in a few hall GC events like Data GC and all, through which I interacted with seniors and got to know who were currently interning into different companies in data, and I got to know how they approach problems and like how amazing it is when you can just study the data and predict something of the future. So it actually interested me, and since it was a kind of growing field and it is a field in which you will find opportunities in every other company in the coming future. So I was also motivated by that as well, because many companies were starting this field or had this field into their company, which was initiated a few years back only. So I believe this is something which is gonna give a great lift to career. The learning curve is great, and Moreover, you actually get to see where you whatever you are doing, how it is making a difference. Like if you are making a model, it is making some predictions, and how does that relate to actually what happened in those future months as compared to what you predicted. So I really loved this thing, and that is something that motivated me to go into data.
That was very interesting, Akshara. Neeraj, what are your experiences?
So the motivation behind opting for the data profile, in the sense like before the internship season, I was like, I didn't see any much, not exactly the differences, any particular inclination towards the data or SD or quant profiles. So I was in a hope that like let's prepare for everything. Then gradually I came to know that, but there is the path that data science takes is completely different from SD in a sense that like there are two things. One is like you know the difference between scientists and engineers, right? Scientists just discover things on experiments, and engineers use those observations to build stuff, right? So this data science is kind of not exactly like science or engineering. It's like it relies on both. You need to do some experiments, and based on that, you need to build the products. So this intermixing of the both domains has excited me to take this data approach. And also, uh, not every problem can be solved based on a rule-based approach. Rule-based approach in the sense having a straightforward path to do that or straightforward algorithm to do that. Not everything is deterministic. Like if we want to predict what is going to be the tomorrow's weather, right? You need to consider the previous history. So this is where probability and statistics comes. So data science, the good thing about this is like you don't need to be a CS graduate to do that. It's just all every one of you here have been through JE Advanced. So you obviously have exposure to probability and statistics. It's just that combining the some of the computer knowledge with probability and statistics gives you data science. So, and that motivated me to do this.
That was very insightful. And Shishir, what were your experiences of the journey?
Yeah, so initially I was just as confused as probably some of you are right now. So I tried multiple things. I talked to a bunch of seniors, and like in my first year, I joined multiple societies. So there I got exposure to this field, and like I found it very intriguing. And analytics was something that I felt could has had a lot of potential of solving real world problems. So I tried to dig further into this field on my own, and yeah, so I got exposure to like I met with other data enthusiasts, and yeah, so the main motivation here was to find to understand the power of data. I thought that the scale at which current data, the data that we have, the like you must have heard about big data, the potential that it had really was something that I was really shocked about, and I felt that it had a lot of potential. So I tried to like dig further into this topic, and I was always also curious to find patterns in numbers and data. So that was something that aligned my interest in this field. And so as I worked forward, I wanted to work on real world problems. So yeah, then I followed I tried to follow this path in data. Yeah.
Thank you for the insightful answer.
Moving forward, crafting a strong CV is crucial for showcasing your skills and achievements. Please share some insights on crafting a compelling CV. Specifically, how many internships and projects should a strong CV include? Shishir, would you like to take it first?
So there's no fixed number of internship and projects that you should include. So compelling CV has something like a way to showcase your skills, your achievements, and your potential for the role that you're applying for, right? So in data also, you need to try to include projects and internship that showcase your skills that are required by the company. So you should try to like mention projects that involve the use of data science per se, and try to cross check your CV or send it to seniors, send it to your friends, proofread it multiple time, and like use action words. So yeah, one more thing I would like to say, in the projects that you mentioned, always try to mention the impact that you have done in a through a project or during an internship. So that is something that companies look for, especially Microsoft, from what I've heard from my mentors here. So yeah, that is something you should keep a note of.
Neeraj, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I agree completely with what Shisha said. Like, I just want to give an example so that people will understand. So what he told us, like, you need to start, you need to tell the other companies, like, you need to present in such a way that what impact you have done. So you start the points in your under your project with something like I deployed or developed or designed, something like that. So that instead of just explaining the project, you just make them understand what you did in the project. That's very crucial for this. And also, I cannot emphasize more on projects since yeah, they search for two key skills in the data science profile. One is the problem solving skill that can be verified from your competitive programming skill, and the other is the data science specific stuff like the ML projects which you want. And one key thing is like whatever word, what no matter what that is, which you included in your CV should be explainable by you. So there, it you need to completely know in and out of your project. That's the key thing. Like I cannot stress more on this. Yeah.
Thank you, Neeraj. Akshara, would you like to add anything to it?
Yes, so I totally agree with whatever they both said. Plus, I would like to add a point here. If there is some specific company that you are targeting, make sure that you go through CVs of the seniors who actually got an opportunity in that company. Like I was targeting HDFC, so I went through the CV of those seniors who got an intern at HDFC. So I saw what kind of projects they did and whatever they wrote in CV. Like they had projects related to banking plus data, like loan predictions and stock price prediction, something like that, in which you uh, although stock price prediction wasn't exactly banking plus data, but it had high relevance with that. So my current project is kind of relevant to what kind of internships, not exactly internships, but what kind of self projects I have mentioned in my CV. So the hiring manager found it related to what they exactly want. So they just shortlisted CV. So if you are, for example, targeting Microsoft, so go through the CV of the seniors who are interning at Microsoft currently and what exactly they had different from others. So this will help in shortlisting a lot.
Those were some very valuable points.
And one more
Continuing.
point that I want to add. Sorry to interrupt you. So, like, some of the juniors may have heard about the previous internships that you need to be included in the CV. One key thing is like, please don't freak out on that because you guys have just completed second year. You wouldn't be able to complete a smaller other internship, right? So it's not mandatory to already have some previous internships when you are going to give an internship exam. So yeah, so internships are not mandatory. They are a bonus point. Yeah, don't feel tensed up on that.
So comparing the importance of projects versus internships, what do you think is more important?
I personally prefer projects. I mean, that's what I have seen from my interviews or my friends' interview.
Okay.
Projects versus what?
Past
Internship.
internships.
Okay, past internship, actually they give an idea that you have a little bit of corporate exposure, that you have actually implemented it on that particular corporate level, despite uh, getting yourself engaged in various data competitions or self project. But self project is the thing where you can show the maximum relatability to the HR, that whatever I have done in past is highly relatable or it would be very helpful if I'll get an internship here that actually relates well. So these two have totally different senses. Internship versus past project, but past self project is something where you have complete hold of, and if you're targeting some particular company, you can do a self project relevant to that from scratch. So that is something on which one can focus a lot, and self projects actually help a lot. Even in the interview, many HRs focus more on the project rather than internship. They would be asking questions that what you exactly did in that self project, and they might not even ask from internship if that internship data project isn't that relevant to what they want.
Thank you for your valuable input. Shishir, what are your thoughts on this?
I would say it depends on the type of project or the work you did it in an internship, let's say. So for me, they asked mostly questions from the from my experience, previous internship. So because the work I did there was mostly relevant to what my profile was and what they wanted. So if you have a relevant internship, it's always a plus point to include it. But yeah, projects are better in a sense because you have complete control over them, and you can do the projects as required by the job role or the company, let's say. So that is something that where projects are more useful. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you for your valuable input. Now, continuing further, can you walk us through the basic selection process companies follow for a data intern role? Please provide us details regarding the different rounds and the type of questions asked. Akshara, would you like to address this query?
Yeah, sure. So, in general, what happens is that whenever a company comes for data profile, they'll be having initial test round for checking your DSA skills, and then they'll move to interview rounds, one or two interview round. So that depends on company to company, and it varies. It is not fixed. Like for HDFC, on the day HDFC came, it gave the shortlist according to CV, and they directly took the interviews in which they asked like whatever they wanted to. So it just happened that in afternoon they had their interview, and then they gave their final shortlisting by evening only. So they didn't had multiple rounds. They just went through CV and shortlisted the ones that they found interesting according to relevant projects or whatever they saw. And then in interview round, they were mostly grilling on my self projects, and then some data questions. They didn't focus much on DSS side. They just asked me whether how good my Python skills are and a few other things. And so they were mostly data focused and not DSA focused. So this is how they took their interview process. But for other companies, they mostly have an initial DSA round where they check how well you are in coding and all. And then they take interview on which then they focus on data skills and whatever you did in your past regarding projects, competitions, internships, and then they give their final results.
So the interview round was basically a technical round.
Yeah, so interview round was firstly, obviously they asked for my introduction, and then they asked regarding my self project. So regarding self project, we had around 20 to 30 minutes conversation on that project itself. It was a stock price prediction project, and then they asked a few questions regarding how well you are in Python. So I just told them that all my projects are in Python itself. And then they asked basic data questions like what is this and stuffs like that. And then they wrapped up the interview. So it was just this.
Thank you for your insightful answer. Now, Shishir, would you like to share some of your experience of the Microsoft selection?
Yeah, for us, there was an online assessment round. They did not ask DSA there, but it was aligned with the data role. So there was Python and some data question related to data mining. And there was then CV shortlisting, and then for me there were two interview rounds. In the first interview round, the questions were mostly based on my CV. So you know, like Neeraj said before, you need to be through with your CV. They'll ask you question from each and every sentence of your CV. So that was that. And after that, in the second round, it was mostly question about myself, and there was a DSA question as well in the second round. And yeah, so that was all for me.
Thank you for your valuable response. Neeraj, would you like to add something to it?
No, I think the same guy took the interview, I guess, with Shishir and me. So the same thing happened with me. Yeah. So you
Okay.
need to DSA and data science part, ML part, and the
Okay.
CV. All these three. Yeah.
Thank you for your
I
valuable
had
response.
I had a query like since a vast range of companies hire for data roles, so what sort of self projects we should include in our CV? Because initially we are not sure that which company we are targeting specifically.
Yeah. So
I guess yes, we can
yeah,
start.
you
No,
can go
no,
ahead.
you go ahead, you go.
So I guess if you are not targeting some specific company, it is wise to choose a variety of projects that might cover different variety of data roles that come into campus. Like you can research once about what companies come for data role. Like I guess Microsoft, Adobe, HDFC, and in internships there are not many data roles. Although in placements you get an ample of opportunity, and even this time data roles offers for I guess more than SD roles. But when it is the case of internships, data roles are very limited, and
Yeah.
many few companies hire for these roles. So there won't be many diversity in companies. So you can just go through the list of companies. There would be only few good brands that would be offering it. So you can just go through the list of companies that are offering it, and I guess you can keep in variety of projects. Like three, four projects, and each self project would be targeting one particular company, like one related to banking plus data that would target HDFC, one related to, I guess, about Microsoft, they'll tell better what exact combination they might want. So you can take over from here.
Yeah, I would just like to add that there's like obviously you should target companies in your CV, but try to include projects that showcase your proficiency in data science. Let's say try to include a project that shows your proficiency in programming languages like Python and SQL. Try to include projects that have that showcase your expertise in frameworks such as TensorFlow, PyTorch, or sklearn, Pandas, NumPy, right? And there are also many data visualization techniques and libraries that you can like do projects upon. So that might help, and also understanding of basic ML concepts like regression, classification, clustering. And if you want to go one step higher, you can also include NLP, computer vision. So this kind of projects that showcase your experience or expertise in these topics that are more relevant to data role, I think that would be more beneficial.
Yeah. So one point I would like to add is like in your projects, try to explain them the problem that you're trying to solve. Like that can be an already solved problem, but everything has a problem statement, right? Let them know what impact you have made. Such as like I in my CV, I had a project like completing the unfilled parts of an image. It's like there can be lost parts in an image, right? In some old images. That one of my project is to use a stable diffusion model to cover up the patches. So this is the problem statement. This is called image impending or image recreation. So when you tell them that, they would be excited to learn more about that. That's where they can specifically focus on one particular project in your CV and ask questions on that. Just try to make them more excited from your projects. That's the
That was quite an insightful answer. Moving over to the next question. Carrying on with the preparation strategies, how vital is competitive programming in the overall selection process? What are we tested on in the coding rounds? Neeraj, would you like to elaborate on this one?
Uh, Specifically, this completely depends on the company. At least for Microsoft, I can say that for the coding now, they have focused and insisted mainly on the data scraping on data mining part, which requires some C++ or Python knowledge to work with files. The coding round was easy, but regarding the competitive programming, many people were asking also. This is quite important because I faced with two competitive programming questions in both rounds of my interviews. So for I had two rounds of interviews, and half of the interview was gone to the DSA part, and half was to the CV and this ML basics part. So I think at least for Microsoft, it's equally important. Like they test for the problem solving skills. To verify your problem solving skills, they use this competitive program. So it is quite an essential part.
Kishore, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so like Neeraj said, CP is very vital, like for all tech roles, I would say. And for data, you may not need to have like a very high code versus rating, like let's say 1800 plus. But you do need knowledge in problem solving to crack interviews and online assessments. So yeah, CP helps you yeah improve on that fronts. So it may not help directly in a data role, I would say, but it sure helps in other ways. So it's never a bad idea to do CP, right? So I would suggest you always do CP. Like whether you're doing it for data role or anything, CP is must for tech roles, I think.
Akshara, would you like to add something?
Yes. So what I feel is when you are targeting for SD role, it is more CP focused or inclined. But what I have seen in general, for data roles, CP, they don't need you to be amazing at CP or something like that. They just want that if you are good with DSA and a little bit of CP. So then many companies that would come for data role, particularly if I'll talk about HDFC, so they were more focused on the data side and they didn't uh, they didn't ask about coding questions or anything specific to that. And as far what I have heard is in general companies that offer data role, they are not that much into competitive programming. The level requirement for them is comparatively less than what is required for any SDE role. So that is one thing. But as they have already told that doing CP is not a harm because you can all it always helps. It will help to build your problem solving skills, which will be very good in long run, even when you will be working on a live project. So those skills would help you after joining the internship. Although they didn't ask much about it when they were interviewing. So that's the thing.
Okay. So, like, what do you think? What lead code difficulty level problems are asked in interviews, like from easy, medium, hard?
Akshara,
Uh,
Shishir, would you like?
So like I can't say which kind of problems they will ask. Like they can ask something really tough, depends on them, or something really easy, depends on them again. So I won't like to put a like tag on questions, but you can expect medium level questions. I would say easy to medium, easy or medium. Yeah.
That was quite an insightful answer. Uh, Moving forward,
what are the fundamental requirements to secure an internship in data profile? Neeraj, would you like to answer first?
Fundamental requirements in the sense a strong
Yes.
basic foundation on ML basics is required.
In the sense, like, can you provide a roadmap for person who is just starting out on, who wants to pursue data profile? Can you provide
Okay.
a roadmap for him?
Uh, I can give one most useful resource. Like there's this classification, and I mean this basic course on Coursera from Andrew Ng. Like he's like the one of the gods of data science actually. One of the pioneers in that. So this basic course just takes you 3 to 4 days to complete. It explains a lot. It explains all the fundamental concepts behind the in data science. So it's like you don't need any much prerequisites for that. You don't need any computer science background or anything like that. So that's a good thing. That's the first thing which I want him to do, so that he can know what is actually happening in data science, what is data science. And second stuff after completing this is like just don't try to learn a lot. Start doing something. Start working on some small project. At least, I mean, a project need not be a fancy one. Like it can be as small as predicting the temperature tomorrow. Just try to solve it out. That's all. Like when you get your hands on something, just you'll be, if you're stuck somewhere, you can just go and revisit that part of the subject and you can just continue with your work. Just please don't wait till you learn everything. This is my thing. So yeah, so one thing, just once you feel that you have sufficient basics about machine learning, just go and have some project. And Kaggle is an extraordinary resource for people who aim for this profile. Yeah, you can find lots of things from Kaggle. Like it's like just code forces for data science profile enthusiasts. If you know perfectly, you can exploit Kaggle a lot. Like there are many articles in Kaggle, there are many competitions for beginners in Kaggle. You can see how other people are approaching a particular problem, how what other models the people are using. Like Kaggle is actually underappreciated. I think I suggest you guys once visit that once. Yeah.
Okay. Akshara, would you like to expand on this point?
So, talking about roadmap, firstly, as he mentioned about uh, Andrew NG course on Coursera. So it is the firstly the basic foundation. It is very broad, as in terms of he'll tell bits about everything, but it is not deep. Like you'll get a theoretical knowledge from that course, that what is this, what is that, and you'll get your concepts clear. But in order to start a project, that is not a that is more theoretical oriented as compared to implementation oriented. So after that, I personally did a statistical learning in Python course, that is a Stanford course. It has although 100 plus play videos in it, but no, I didn't found although it was very vast and you could learn a lot from it, but at the level, at internship level, I didn't found that it had much implementation. It was comparatively higher level than required. So one doesn't need to do that. And then I did some research internships at Harvard and Cambridge. On it also helped me in a way that I got to know about how they were implementing machine learning and like data science into their predictions. Like in one internship that I was doing in Cambridge. So they were kind of trying to predict micro entrepreneurs like India. How much do they make on an average basis, something like that. And it was more on image recognition. Like if we get the image of a person, how can we actually identify what economic level he is living, like by identifying the objects in that image. If that person has a shop, what kind of things are in the shop and stuffs like that. They were trying to do some income prediction. So that also helped me to learn how we can use this skill into making such predictions. And it also, I guess, I mentioned these two internships in my CV as well. So I guess it would have helped there as well. Although they didn't ask much about these internship, because it was not at all relevant to their banking profile. Image means kind of object identification wasn't at all relevant to them. So then I did some self projects, and in self projects, instead of focusing whether I should do this or that, you can start with a very basic level, from which you'll get to know the flow of a data science project, like how actually things go on from one to other, like what are the various steps that are included when you make any data science project. You learn from that small project, and then you can upscale it to any specific project or domain specific project if you want to try. And self projects help a lot in finding internships. So they are a must. You should be having good self projects. If you don't have, just ask your seniors what kind of self projects they had, and you can find ample of resources over the net on YouTube, like how to make this kind of model and all. So, and this is the thing. And then, since you asked roadmap, so should I include that interview part as well, or would that come later on?
So yeah, you can include that part.
Okay, so talking about the interview, then after making all this, also plus I had done few GC competitions for data. So in that also from seniors, they know a lot since they were currently doing internships in big techs. So they'll help you a lot, as in you will get to know exactly what to do, when to do, how to approach a particular problem. So indulging yourself in competition is a very good way to learn any skill, whether it is data science or any other skill. When you indulge yourself in a competition, you actually get to know how to how to implement something instead of just knowing the theoretical part, and that too in a very short period of time. And then so I guess these all, and then since roadmap, so CV preparation also comes handy. So CV preparation, in that I guess as they mentioned that everything you write should show an impact. And I guess your project here, you have to make all the points such that they don't intersect each other. At the same time, they are exhaustive. Like when you see all the 3 points that you write for any particular heading, so they should be like they'll get whole gist of the project, that what you exactly did, how you impacted that particular company, or if it was a self project, how what results you got and how you got. Everything should be addressed in those points. And okay, rest, if there is any question is specific to interview, I'll come to that on that question.
Okay, sure. Thank you for your valuable answer. And Shishir, would you like to add anything?
I think most of the things are already covered, but I'll just add that, like, I'll just put my point of view here that if you're starting from, let's say, level zero, you can start first learning, gaining theoretical knowledge, let's say by doing Coursera courses of Andrew NG, and so like for data, like for statistics, I would suggest Stats 101 from Stanford. It's available on YouTube. It's also a really good course. And there are some niche course for computer vision and NLP that it depends on your interest, although it's not required. But you also need to apply your theoretical knowledge into practical scenarios as well. So that is something that is really important for, let's say, securing an internship, because having the knowledge is not enough, because how will you showcase it to the recruiters, right? So you need to do projects, you need to like do things on Kaggle competitions, hackathons. So you need to do practical stuff if you want to secure an internship, right?
Okay. Thank you for your valuable answer.
Moving forward, how important are self projects and past internships in landing an intern at Data Profile? I think most of it is covered. Would you like to emphasize on the importance of research internships? Akshara, would you like to take it first?
Talking about research internship, I believe that although that experience matters on a personal level, because you get to learn a lot from a research internship, and it is research internships are kind of very vast. Like talking about that Cambridge internship, it was kind of very vast, where there was full freedom to explore anything you want to. So it is great on a personal level that you get to learn a lot. You get to experiment a lot. And as actually you are implementing your data project on a comparatively very huge database. But talking about CDC internships, how relevant they are to CDC internship, I believe that corporate internship as compared to research internship would be very much helpful, because that is something what they find interesting, what is relevant to them. If you have a past corporate experience, even the self project becomes more important, because then that self project is relevant, if that is relevant to their profile or their particular uh, problem in the case for which they are hiring interns for the project they are hiring interns. So I believe research internship isn't that helpful for gaining an internship in CDC, but it is more helpful on your personal level, that you got to learn a lot. So yes.
It was quite insightful. Neeraj, would you like to add?
No, I think they made the point.
Shishir, would you like to add anything?
I would just say that although these things are important, but they are not mandatory. They can give you an edge over other candidates, but like you should not like be like if I haven't done any internship, it was they I won't get this CDC internship. It is not true. You just need something to talk about that you have done during an interview. So it can be a self project, and if it's internship, yeah, it can be an internship, but you should be able to talk about that. You should be able to explain it to the recruiters, right? Yeah.
It was quite insightful. Moving forward,
Coming on to a very popular question, how does CG impact the overall selection and shortlisting process? Are there any departmental advantages?
Mm,
Shishir,
Let me
would you
take
like to
this.
address this
Yeah.
one?
Okay, let Neeraj explain it.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Point one, you wouldn't require this CG once you have shortlisted for the test or interview. It's just for the resume shortlisting itself. Like not all companies look for CG. Like I think 8+ CG is decent enough for that. And what's the other thing? One is regarding CG and the departmental preferences.
Departmental advantages.
Yeah, I think no, at least for Microsoft, I can say no, because I have my friends who are doing interns from agriculture department, mechanical department. And yeah, there are at least there are last time there were 12 to 15 to 20 interns, and I think only 3 or 4 of them are from computer science, and not a lot of them. So I don't think there is much departmental preference for this. So yeah, it's all depends on your CV mostly, and the way you give the way you performed in the test, at least for most of the companies.
Shishir, what would you like to give? What advice would you like to give to people with non-cervical department and CG below 8.5?
Uh, I would say again, like just like Neeraj told, there is no hard rule for CG, especially for Microsoft and even department. So if you have good enough projects, if your CV is good enough, you will get shortlisted. And even my CG was not that good, but I still got the internship, right? So I don't think they are important for especially Microsoft, but there are some companies that do prefer higher CG. Yeah, they do give preference to CG, so it depends on the company. But for Microsoft, I think there was no such criteria.
Akshara, would you like to add to it?
Yes, so I believe that specifically for CDC internship, CG plays a role as long as you have CG above 8, because below 8 it would be kind of very tough. Even if it is 7.99 and 8.01, it makes a huge difference for companies because they directly shortlist on the basis of that many times. In off campus, although the CG difference wouldn't make that much impact, but in on-campus internships, I believe it makes an impact if you have CG below 8. Although if it is below above 8, so you have ample of opportunities and it wouldn't matter much, because many companies don't actually look for very high CG and stuffs like that, as they mentioned about Microsoft, and even in HDFC, a CG above 8 is good to go. And then about being a department criteria. So as they mentioned for Microsoft, I have also seen many of my friends who are in Microsoft, but they are not from Circuital and they are from agri depths, ocean level, and depths like that. So even in HDFC, they don't have a department criteria, because this time also they hired from a variety of depths, and out of them they hired 6 people, and out of them only one was from Circuital. So I don't think that for many companies, department in especially in data science role, department plays that much of a huge role. If your CV is relevant to them, they might shortlist you.
Thank you for your valuable inputs.
Moving forward, what alternative career paths did you consider and what skills did you develop for them? Did you consider pursuing higher studies in data? Shishir, would you like to take it first?
Yeah, so alternative career paths. So SD was one of the alternatives because like there were more companies. Usually more companies come for SD roles. So I was doing CP on the side and lead code. So like the goal was to so I was interested in tech role, right? So the goal was to either get try for data role. If that doesn't work out, I'll have something as a backup, right? So that's why SD was one of the alternatives for me. And as far higher studies goes, I think I did not think of higher studies. Maybe like I wanted to do research, but uh, not now. Like uh, I'll uh, I'll probably do go for higher studies, but after a few years down the lane, when I get some experience here in corporate, then I might think about it. But right now, I'm not thinking about higher studies.
That was quite insightful. Neeraj, would you like to add something?
Yeah. So my backup was SDE profile. So I was aiming for both data science and SDA and quant profile for three of these. Like there was I was giving equal preference for all of the three. And the one common thing in all of the three is the competitive programming. So it's not like you need to have a separate preparation for these three stuff. You just go with competitive programming, and also you can parallelly do brush up your fundamentals in machine learning. It wouldn't take much time. So yeah, these are my backups. And yes, and for regarding the higher studies. No, I didn't initially have as of now, now I didn't have a plan to pursue any higher studies in data science, especially. I have some plans, but they're not relevant now yet. Yeah.
Okay, it was quite insightful. Akshara, what are your thoughts on it?
So again, coming to higher studies, similar to both of them, I don't have any plan for pursuing higher studies as of now. I feel that is some a very tedious and lengthy process. As in, you get to actually earn something very over the lane, very years uh, down the lane, and then talking about my alternatives. So for CDC internship, I didn't had any alternatives as such. I was only targeting for data roles. And although for data roles, many companies don't come, there are very specific, or you can count them on fingers, the big brands that come for data profile during internships. Although in placements, you'll get an ample of opportunities for the same. And other than that, I was also thinking about jumping into product role, because even if you want to try product role, so if you have a data background, it helps a lot. So anyone from data background can switch to product role very easily in future. And that is product role is something product that is study specific to that product development and all. Plus if you have a data background, the growth curve is kind of very good. But talking about the same for product role also, there are almost no opportunities in internships. Although in placements, many companies come that hire for this specific role. So for internships, internships, I had no as such backup apart from data, and I wasn't trying for SD because I'm not into SD. I don't feel like I can work, sit on desk, and do all that stuff over the years. But data is something for which I can feel this. So yes, I was not even trying for SD role.
That was quite insightful. Moving forward,
How would you improve mistakes that you think you made during the placement season, or things that that you realized that later could have been done in a better way? Neeraj, would you like to take this first?
Yeah, so one common mistake which I did and which I have seen that many of my friends doing is like they wait till they learn everything and then they start practicing or doing the projects or giving the competitions, coding competitions. This should not be the case at all because like it takes a lot of time to learn everything completely. Actually, I think it takes infinite amount of time. So one thing is like just give some time to learn the basics and then just start doing stuff. Yeah, this I cannot stress more. This is very important. Like, else you would not have time. Suddenly, I mean, it's already June now, right? Like, if I'm not wrong, you'll people will have their coding tests or something like that starting from the mid of next month itself. So yeah, I don't want them to stay more. I mean, spend too much time on learning before practicing. Yeah, practice as much as you can.
Thanks for your valuable input. Neeraj, sorry, Shishir, what are your takeaways?
Yeah, so my mistakes were like I did not take academics and CGPA seriously. So that really affected my CDC internships. So, like many companies were like directly closed for me because there was a hard CGPA criteria. Like many quant companies preferred 9+ CGs. So that was one thing. And another, like I did not, I feel I should have done more CP and more consistently. I wasn't consistent. So it's very important when you're doing competitive programming to be consistent. Otherwise, like the flow breaks, the momentum goes away, and that is something that affected me. And because of that, I lost a lot of time, like and rating. So to say, yeah, that is also one thing. So be more consistent while doing like anything, not just competitive programming. Yeah.
Thank you for your valuable insights. Akshara, would you like to add something?
Yes. So, like Neeraj said, that it takes a lot of time to learn anything. I would say that for specifically data science domain, it takes forever to learn something because it is so vast that every time when you will think that you covered this thing, you will get to know about something else that would just come up and you would not be knowing about it. So there is no end to this journey. You will keep on exploring new and new things. So it is always wise to start developing projects and working on practical implementation part just apart from learning theoretically. Many times what people and what my juniors think that once we cover theory broadly and we know everything, we can start with the project. So it's never the case. There wouldn't be a time when you will be knowing everything. There will be always an ocean of things that would be left and you would not be knowing about it. So just start implementing projects because that is the thing you are going to showcase on your CV at the end. So a good projects are very helpful in your internship. And second thing I would mention, like when your internship season will start, you will get calls discussions, GDs of various companies. So there's one thing that you need to keep in mind that many of your seniors would be sitting in internship with you. So it happened with me in Nomura. There were my seniors, and then there were few of my batches. Mostly they were seniors. So I was very conscious to speak anything in front of them in GD because of the thought that they would be knowing much more, much better than me. Uh, regarding any particular topic, and I might sound stupid to them if I'll give my point of view. So you don't have to be conscious. In GD, it's just that as much extrovert as you can be in GD, how much you are able to put your point, they see those things. And another thing, what they will judge in GD, I guess for every other company, they'll be having GD on day one and two. So they also check not just that how you are putting your point in front of others in GD, but you are also a good listener. Like if someone is saying something, you actually listen to that and you are able to carry forward that conversation in a fruitful and constructive manner instead of just putting your point, because they want to test that in company when you are having some kind of discussion in future on a project with your team, how you carry forward it. Are you listening to others and then putting your point on above of that, like you can always start with as they said and continue with the same topic and then bring your topic inside it. And these are few of the things that you need to take care of, and it would help a lot.
Thank you for your informative answers. They provided a lot of understanding. At last, what advice would you like to give someone targeting to get into your company, or any general advice which was not covered in the session? Shishir, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so one thing that I think we haven't covered yet is that you need to show enthusiasm during your interviews. So, like, don't try to be dull or like it seem like you're interested in the job, and be excited and try to ask questions about the profile, about the company. I think that it gives a good impression and it might be helpful.
Neeraj, would you like to add something?
So yeah, so if there are people who thinks that they do not have enough CV or they are not from such critical departments, one suggestion from me is like it it isn't much it doesn't worth your stress on that. You cannot I mean they are not much required. You have enough time to ace your interviews and exams if you are considering that you have 1 month more. So just don't consider on things which you cannot change. Just start the revision. That's all. And also focus on the projects more.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. Akshara, would you like to add something?
So first thing that I would like to say that although your all internships are just coming in a month, within a month actually. So, but even from placement perspective, good CG is no harm. Although many people would say that companies don't have this particular CG requirement or something like that. The better your CG is, the more opportunities you will get. The more kind of roles would be open to you. 8 plus is good to go, but better it is, it would depend on a specific profile that you would be focusing. If you are going for quant, 9 plus is required. For example, if you didn't build your CV CG up to that mark, so those particular profiles would be closed for you from the very start. So a good CG is no harm. Always focus how you can improve your CV and make it better and better. And other thing that I felt, interview part didn't get that much covered as of now, so I would like to focus on that part. So for interviews, there are few tips that I would like to give. Firstly, whenever you are going to interview, even if it is online or offline, always carry a diary and pen with yourself, so that sets a good impression. Secondly, whenever you are giving your own introduction, your HR will give your introduction. If there is any possible way that you can get to know about HR, even before interview, if you can research about him, it's a great thing. And if you can put that in conversation in between, that I got to know that you did this particular thing, it sets a good impression. Next thing that when you carry your diary and pen and your HR is giving their introduction as they give in every interview, so you should note down key points from their introduction that you might put up at the end of the interview, and when they will ask you, like if you have any questions, so you can just pick one point from your diary and frame a question on the basis of that. For example, if they told you they have been working in this particular company from 5 plus years, so At the end you can ask your question something like, you mentioned at the beginning in your introduction that you have been working in this company from these many years. So how has been the journey, like what learnings do you get and how is this, whatever comes to your mind. So and the second thing is, whenever you are explaining about your self project, always explain it in a manner that is similar to storytelling so that they feel interested. And in that storytelling, you just don't have to tell that I did this, I used this technology and all, because your HR might not know it to the full depth. Explain everything to very detail, that what this particular thing is and how I used it, why I used it. And in your story always include the part where you mentioned that then I faced this problem, and then I researched and got to know about this particular technology or this particular model that I can implement here to overcome this issue. And when you will be explaining your self project, you can mention 4 to 5 problems that you came across while developing the project on your own, and how you actually tackled those problems. So it would be a great way of storytelling, and it would also tell the HR that you are great at problem solving, that you got these many problems while developing the project, but at the end somehow you researched, did your work and got to um, explore or know about the way in which you can overcome this problem, and you at the end implemented this particular model, and also explained that how this model helped you, like for example, if my model was doing a stock price prediction, so firstly how you got interested in this particular project itself. Like, I was very interested in a stock market and all ups and down, and then I thought, why don't we combine data and a stock market and make a model out of it. So these things would interest them a lot. And at the end, you can also mention if you have any particular past experience. Like, I had a web secretary experience in technology student Simkhana. So I also kind of combined these two things in my storytelling. Like, I told them that since I had that experience, I was good with the web development. So after implementing my project, I also developed a particular website on which we can actually see the stock price prediction. So even for a person who is not from that technical background, he can have a full understanding of how it is working and all. So always give your interview in a storytelling, and it shouldn't be one conversation like the interviewer is asking you questions and you are just answering it to the point. It should be kind of a conversation between you, not an interview. You can also ask questions like when my interviewer mentioned that they are working on this particular technology, or this is how they are using data science in their field. So I linked it with my past experience that I was also doing this, and in this I faced this particular problem. So how you all tackle this particular thing. So it should be a conversation kind of thing, and it would help a lot. Like, I guess if you'll give an interview in this manner, you will have very high chances to bag that interview. So it always helps. It always helped me.
Thank you for your valuable tips. Shishir, would you like to share some tips regarding the interview process?
Yeah, like I said, so a good storytelling is a great way to show your interest in your project and your enthusiasm. So you just need to convey how you approached it and basically what ways you could have done it, and the impact you have created through your project, what value you have added to the world. So yeah, all these things do make a good impact. So yeah, that's it from my side.
And Neeraj, would you like to add something more?
No, I think, yeah, one thing like if obviously most of the interviews they will ask you if you have any other questions, right? Just try to ask some question relevant to the field you are going to pursue. Some exciting question. This lets them understand that you are so passionate about the career you're choosing. Yeah, just please don't be passive. Just be as active as possible in the interview. because they are also looking for a team member, right? Not a single person who can do some assignment. So
Yes.
show those skills also to them.
Okay. Thank you for your valuable insights. Thank now I am Thank you for your highly informative session. I am confident that this will be extremely beneficial for our audience. We are excited to open the floor to questions from the Janta. Please take this opportunity to submit your questions in the chat box. We look forward to hearing from you.
Many people are asking about probability and statistics. What resources did you follow for the for learning probability and statistics?
Yeah, StatQuest from Josh Kramer is an excellent YouTube channel for statistics and probability. And if people want to go for a book, then Douglas C. Montgomery, Probability and Statistics is an excellent for beginners to advanced. Yeah.
Shashir, would you like to add anything?
Yeah. So I'll just drop the YouTube link of a course that I really liked. So that's good for probability and statistics. I'll drop it in the chat box so you can check it out. So like in that one, there are multiple lectures. So I think you can find the playlist on YouTube. So that is really good course.
Uh, and one more question. Many people are asking that is there is a threshold rating for bagging a internship in data? Is there a threshold code forces or lead code rating that you would say? Neeraj, would you like to answer this?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Is there any threshold rating for lead code and code forces for bagging a internship at a data profile?
No, no, no. There's nothing like that.
One more question. It is specifically to Miss Akshara Shukla. How had you prepared for product role along with data?
So I have a particular product resource, although I didn't prepare it vastly because I already knew that for internship product roles might there would be almost no product roles, but we can always prepare if we want it in the long run in the placements. So I have a particular drive in which there are all product resources. I'll share with some of someone from you. I guess you can put it where you will put it, but like currently I need
We
to search for it. I don't have it handy.
we have a WhatsApp group, so we'll share it there.
Okay, okay. I'll share it then.
So there's a one more question from the students who are moving from first year to second year, that they should focus this time more on learning or focusing on getting internships.
Uh, for people who are moving from first year to second year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should focus on learning. Yeah, I mean, obviously, an internship prior to this internship is a beneficial thing, but it is not easy to grab, I guess. I mean, yeah, it can be easy to grab also, but I haven't seen most of the people doing it. So, I mean, if you do something like that, you may be short of time for preparing for this. So, I prefer you go for learning, and if you have an opportunity for an internship, then it's obviously good. You can go for that, but please don't only focus on that.
Okay.
Yes, searching for internship would take a lot of time because otherwise you can do something like if you are sending around you can fix a particular number of mails that you will be sending each day so that you don't end up doing that whole day. And because it's a very lengthy process, it might take months for you to land into any internship. And secondly, it's always better to just focus on developing skills, doing projects, and especially if you are just going from first to second years, instead of focusing on some particular skill, firstly focus to explore the diversity of fields that we have in our campus, like so that you are very clear of the field you want to pursue. Like I explored many fields, so now I'm clear with the field that I want to pursue in long run. It is always better when you are just going from first to second year, just in your uh, take a few months, and in every month you are trying to learn one particular field. So after 4 to 5 months you'll be very clear that what you want to do, and then you can just focus on that particular domain. And one mistake that I did was I was doing everything in every field, little bit of everything in every field, so I was not very skilled in a particular field at the beginning. So this is the thing that after exploring all fields, be very clear with what you want to pursue and just focus on that field, so that you become so expert in that particular field that you are sure that you will be able to bag an internship if you sit in this particular profile.
Moving on to the next question. What other tools are helpful for data roles? Are we required to be thorough with tools like SQL, Power BI, etc.?
Yeah,
Shishir, would you like to answer?
Yeah, so for data roles, there is no like prerequisite as in that you need to know SQL knowledge or Power BI, but it's a good to have skill. Like SQL is very useful. Like there are many variants of SQL that companies use for dealing with big data, and having a knowledge of it is like it sets you apart from other candidates. So it's useful, and if but it's not a compulsory thing. uh,
Would you like to add something, Neeraj?
yeah. As you mentioned, SQL is a good bonus, but this other Power BI thing, they are additional things, but yeah, they are not required. I mean, no one would be looking for exactly for those things. SQL is a popular bonus.
Akshara, would you like to add something?
Yes, apart from SQL, SQL is something that many companies might ask about. SQL is something basic, and you should be knowing that if you are going into data. So you should. It wouldn't take much time to learn this. It's very kind of basic thing, and you can learn it, I guess, in 2 or 3 days. So it's always good if you know SQL, because they might ask you about it, as this is a very basic thing that you might be using in the organization while developing projects. And other than that, there is no specific library or technology or framework that you should be knowing. It would vary from company to company. It's just that if you are mentioning some particular skill that you are good at, you should be actually good at that, because they might ask questions from that, then you should be able to answer. Otherwise, it would set a negative setback to your interview.
So there is
That
one more
was quite
question,
insightful.
and there is one more question I would like to ask. That do we need to be familiar with NLP?
so
Again, so it would totally depend on the company you are trying to enter. If they are developing projects that are relevant to NLP, they might ask questions from that. But if the company has and their project has no relevance with NLP, they wouldn't require it at all. So it totally depends from company to company.
Okay, that was quite helpful.
There was one more question. How would you rate projects as good, better, and like really good? On what basis companies like assign these things to self projects? Neeraj, would you like to start?
Can you please repeat it again? Hello. Yeah. Aditi, can you repeat it again?
Okay. On what basis projects are rated? I mean, if the project is good, best, excellent, on what basis interviewer or selection committee check our CV, particularly for projects?
I don't think they are going to rate your project or give you any feedback on that. But the point is like your project should be as exciting as possible. Or the key, I mean, the motivation behind writing a project in your CV is like it is a way to tell that you have expertise in that field or that framework that you have used to complete the project. That's the thing. So it's not like it should be a fancy thing which has changed the world where we live. It may not be that thing. So it can be a simple project where you have implemented a new model or where you have used a pre-trained model or something like that. Like, so what's the thing here? So this explains the recruiter that you know how to use a pre-trained model. That specific uh, task that they may look for from the candidate, right? So this is the way. So yeah, the simple question is, no, they're not going to rate the project, or there is no some set of specific instructions upon which the project will be rated something. There won't be anything like that.
Okay. Akshara, would you like to add something?
So there's no specific criteria on which they'll be going to rate the project, just like Neeraj said. And because it's not consulting, there they have particular spikes for everything you do. They give a spikes on their criterias. But in case of data, there is no as such good medium or excellent project. It is more like the more relevant it will be to the kind of project they'll be giving you after internship, or the kind of work they'll be working on, the more the better chances there will be that you will get a short list. So there is no specific criteria. Again, it would vary from company to company depending on their requirements. So
It was
I
quite
would say that it's always better if you are not targeting some particular company. So just make a list of those big brands that come for data roles, and then see what particular kind of how they use data science in their field, and what particular project would be relevant for them, and try to cover a variety in your CV.
It was quite insightful. Shishir, would you like to add something? I think he is not with us. So we will now be concluding the Q&A session. Thank you, panelists. We have almost reached the end of a really insightful and informative event. I would ask panelists if they want to share some last minute fun day or useful tips that may have been missed in the discussion tonight. Akshara, would
Uh,
you like to?
s- so I just
I
saw
will try.
someone's question. They are asking about research internship. So I would like to address that question. So, talking about the research internships, it's actually a very tedious process to find one. It takes a lot of time. It takes hundreds of mail, in which, firstly, if there is some particular university that you are targeting, just get to the just go on the faculty section of it, and then you will get the list of all faculties you can see on the particular project that they are working on, like what particular technology they are using. You will get full information of that. For Cambridge and Harvard, there is full information available online. So you can get to know that which particular professor you want to work with, and then you can target those professors and send a mail to them mentioning that you have done this all things and you studied about their project, and this what their project covers, one two liners about that in your email, and then you can mention that how you will be contributing to their project and what you can do for their research. So these are the things you need to mention in your mail. And again, as I mentioned that you might need to do hundreds of mail before actually landing into one research internship, and then that is totally luck based. You might land into an internship with a fewer number of mails as well. But then that totally depends on whether that professor is in need of any intern or not, and there are many other factors, but this is the way you can frame your email in which you're mentioning the things you have done, their project, and how that project interests you, and then you can combine your skills and that project into delivering something that would be great for their research purposes. So these are the few of the things, and yes, you need to mail like this, and it might take actually months to land into one internship.
Neeraj, would you like to add something? I think you are muted.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Just one last thing for the people who are going to sit in this placement session. Like, you people are not alone. Your friends will also be sitting. So instead of saying things like "don't feel tensed" or "just be keep it cool," my question is like, it will eventually get over. So you will obviously ace it. I hope that, because you already is JE at once, right? It is nothing in front of that. That's the thing. Just be confident and be sure. That's all the best for you folks.
Thanks a lot. I'm
Yeah.
sure that there was a lot to gain from that answer. Thank you to our panelists once again. Hey Janta, wait, before we wrap up the seminar, we have got some exciting news to share. We are organizing a panel discussion on product profile on 9th of June, and we will love to see you there.
I want to again extend my congratulations to our panelists on securing such impressive internships. I would also like to thank them for giving their valuable time and for sharing impactful insights. I am confident that their experiences and guidance will be incredibly beneficial for all of us. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our audience for actively participating and making this event interesting and interactive. Thank you.
Thank you all and have a great internship season.
Thank you very much, Akshara.
And